students. But without further ado, we are very happy to have our friends from Children's Minnesota. We have Jordan Vanderbilt with us today, and they are a talent acquisition workforce specialist at Children's Minnesota and has put together a presentation for us with their colleagues. So Jordan, I'll pass off the rest of the introductions to you, but we want to thank you for giving of your time today to speak with Metro students and alumni.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me here. I have a lot of good content that I'll go over with you. We are featuring today especially the nursing program and nursing students, and then also IT type kind of career roles. So again, my name is Jordan Vanderbilt. I'm a workforce specialist in talent acquisition here. And then we are also joined by Ava Burton, who is an RN. And then Curtis, who is a manager here for IT. So I will get started. So who are we? So you probably, if you live in the metro area, you've probably seen a location around. We've got a lot of different clinics, but our two hospitals that we have are in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We're the health system that exclusively provides care for children in Minnesota. So people are counting on us to deliver that great experience. And a lot of the times you might think a lot of people think babies or really young kids, but we also serve young adults too. So it's really age 0 to 18, sometimes 21. And just kind of by the numbers here to kind of get a sense of where we're at. We have about 12 clinics. Most of those are the primary clinics that you go to when you're sick. And then we do have specialty clinics as well, like it could be a cancer clinic or OBGYN. We've got about 430 hospital beds, 3 surgery centers, 6 rehab sites. And then on the right here, just shows you really the amount of people that are coming into our system for care within a given year. So thousands of inpatient admissions through the hospital, surgical cases, emergency room visits, outpatient clinic visits, and home care. And this gives you an actual visual kind of where we're at. We've got all of our clinics and hospitals listed on here, but we're also staffing in other areas of the Children's Health Network. So those are the dots that you see as well. And then you'll notice too, we staff the Mother Baby Center at the Mercy Hospital. So maybe it's not our actual location, but we're kind of all over the metro area, whether it's vendors or different clinics like that. The St. Paul Children's Hospital was founded in 1923. And then the Minneapolis Children's Medical Center was founded in 1973. And those two merged to become Children's Minnesota in 1994. And we've kind of grown into this big network since then. What makes us different? So these are just some high level kind of areas that we want to point out. We're the 8th largest children's health system in the US. We've got one of the largest neonatal volumes. We've got the 8th highest PEDS emergency department volume, 13th largest surgery. We've got hundreds of research programs, clinical trials going on. We do pride ourselves with training that next generation of people who are going to care for kids. We care for 70% of the kids, Twin Cities kids with cancer. So the majority of the kids with cancer are coming to us and we're caring for. We were the first PEDS pain program in the country, and we have 60 plus PEDS specialties. I don't know if I could even name half of those specialties. It's a lot of stuff that we're doing. So our mission and vision. So this just kind of lists out our mission and vision here, and I'll go on to values in the next slide. But one of the reasons I came to Children's is because of how close we are to our values, mission, and vision. Everything that we do is really related back to this kind of stuff. All the work, all the goals that we have, we're making sure that we're staying on track with really what's most important and what we want to achieve. Our values. Kids first is number one, of course. So it's all about the kids. Listen, really listen. We understand each person has a story to tell, so we listen with compassion, ask meaningful questions, and build trusting relationships with individuals and communities. Own outcomes, results define us. So we are 200% accountable to ourselves and one another to provide that extraordinary service. Join together. We are stronger together with our patients, families, communities, and one another. And be remarkable. Kids are counting on us to deliver an experience unlike any other. That could be the scariest day for the kid and their families when they're coming to us. And so we're trying to be there and go beyond what's expected. Children's Minnesota values diversity. Our focus is to create an inclusive, safe environment where everyone has an exceptional experience. We have started this effort by addressing the disparities that exist in our own hospitals and clinics, and then working to close those gaps in our employee base. We have Vice President and Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer, James Burrows, with a whole team of equity and inclusion consultants that help in all different parts of our organization. And really the point is we want everyone who's engaging with us, and it's so many different types of people. It's patients, families, our employees, the vendors that work with us, and the community around us, our community partners. We want everyone to feel valued, respected, supported. That means having a diverse and equitable and inclusive culture that reflects those rich backgrounds. And I just pulled a slide just to kind of show diversity within Minnesota. So right now, around 20% of the population are people of color. Between 8 years of 2010 and 2018, the state added 5 times as many people of color as non-Hispanic white residents. And then between 2010, that same time, the fastest growing racial group in Minnesota was Black or African American. Which grew by 36%, adding more than 96,000 people. And to take a look at Children's Minnesota diversity, so it's about a quarter, so we have 24% people of color, Indigenous, and then the rest, some are unknown, but the rest are white. Okay, I am going to jump into the nursing part of the slides here. So this is specifically information if you are a nursing student. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our nursing professional practice model, which we call REACH. It's made through 3 different things: shared governance, partners in care, and nursing care delivery. So to go over shared governance first, that is a decision-making model with clinical nurses, clinical nurse resources, APRNs, and leadership based on the principles of partnership, equity, accountability, and ownership at the point of service of patient care. So this structure enables clinical nurses to influence decisions affecting practice to provide direction for the professional practice of nursing. The goal of shared governance is to support excellence in practice and evidence-based knowledge, improving nurses' work environment, satisfaction, retention, and ultimately resulting in improvement in patient outcomes. Partners in care listen and communicate early, often, and consistently to meet and address physical and emotional needs of patient and family unit. Diversity is valued by responding to the uniqueness of each child and their situation. And collaboration with each patient, caregiver, and interprofessional team and community partners ensures advocacy and optimal patient outcomes. And then the last one, nursing care delivery is provided through patient and family-centered care. Nursing care is planned, delivered, evaluated through a mutually beneficial partnership among healthcare providers, patients, and families. And through fostering an environment of dignity, respect, nurses listen and honor patient family perspectives and choices. And we are a magnet recognized system. So what that really means is a couple things. So first, we have 80% or above BSN nurses, nurses with 4-year degrees. That doesn't mean we don't hire 2-year nurses. We're actually kind of ramping up to hire more of those within the coming years here because we are above the 80%. And what Magnet needs us to do in order to stay Magnet recognized is that we are working with our 2-year degree nurses to continue education. So if you are hired here, we're going to encourage you through a lot of different things to go back and complete your degree. But we do this because it results in better patient outcomes, patient satisfaction, and nurse satisfaction. And I'll talk about our intern program here because some people might be interested in that. If you haven't heard of it before, this is kind of a hospital system-wide internship program that a lot of different hospitals run throughout the metro area. It's one of my favorite things that I am able to work on at Children's. And this would be applicable to you. So if you are in if next year in September, you're starting your junior year in nursing, you would apply for this internship role in November. Then you would start in the summer. So we've already selected all of our interns for 2022. They will start in June and go to August. And then one of the goals is to be able to, if you like your experience here, we hope that you apply once you graduate within your last year. You could also do your preceptorship, capstone, all that kind of stuff within your last year as well. So we try and kind of connect the dots that way. But being a nurse intern, you start out, you might be learning a lot at first, but at the end, we want you to kind of be able to function as a nurse. So it really gives you a lot of experience, gets you ready for your last year. And then hopefully, if you do work with us after the internship, after you complete your last year, you kind of already know a lot about our system and you're kind of set up to have a shorter orientation. But it's really great. And I'll share my contact information after this too. If anyone's interested in next year and you'll be in your junior year, you can contact me I'll let you know once we post it for this next one, November. And do we have Ava Burton on the line? Okay, so we had Ava Burton was supposed to be here for her story, but it looks like she wasn't able to make it, which is unfortunate, but we will move right ahead then to IT. And actually, I'm gonna let Curtis take over these slides because he is the expert here. So thank you, Curtis, for being here.
Well, good morning, everybody. And Jordan, thank you for the invitation and the introduction. I'm a manager of ancillary systems at Children's Minnesota. I have about 15 years combined healthcare IT experience. About five of those years have been in leadership roles or management. And yeah, some of these slides here, we actually we borrowed from one of our executives latest pitches to the board of directors. So our chief information officer endorses a lot of these slides. So I'm passing along the best that we have here. So as you can see, at Children's Minnesota, this is the larger vision for the company. The digital mission, the key word here is enabling that vision. So we develop and deliver the kids' expert capabilities to our patients, families, customers, providers, and workforce and make convenient, reliable, and intuitive. Fine, it's kind of a mouthful here, but basically we want all of our systems to be easy to access, yet secure. We want to make sure that all the clinicians that we support have what they need to do their job. So while we don't provide direct patient care at the bedside, we have a major hand in making sure that they have the tools they need to do their job. Guiding principles. So our technology allows for safe and high quality care. We implement advanced technology to keep Children's Minnesota on par or ahead of our competition. We're always focused on the needs of our customer. Although we are in a highly regulated industry as well, we're constantly working toward balancing the customer needs and the the regulatory environment that we work in. Our technology is reliable. We do a lot of testing. We don't make changes willy-nilly. we make sure that prior to anything going into a real live or production environment, it's well tested and safe. And I'm just trying to skim through and summarize some of these. I don't want to put you guys to sleep. I like that they say we make good changes. Yeah, I would say we try not to introduce bugs or defects or instability. We're in a dynamic environment, ever-changing environment, where you can have many layers of technology that are going through changes or upgrades at the same time. And it's really impossible sometimes to know how all these things are going to play well together, or if they're going to play together nicely. And so we have to be very responsive when things don't work as they should. But we also have outward-facing technology and portals that we support to engage our customers. So there's the technology that we use to provide care, but then just like any larger organization, we support tons of infrastructure and other systems that make it possible for HR and finance and everyone else to be able to do their work. So the last bullet point here is probably one that should be moved to the top nowadays. You hear so much talk about cybersecurity. Our technology is secure. Before anything new comes in, we do quite a few different layers of security review, and the FBI has been giving us a lot of information over the last 2 years, letting us know that our industry is being targeted, and you don't have to look far in the news and media to see that healthcare is a target because of the valuable patient data and financial info we store from patients. So we are really vigilant and becoming more secure every day. I can talk a little bit about the ITS Internship Program. I helped pilot, along with Jordan, we piloted a fall internship, the first of its kind, paid interns for Children's ITS department. Prior to this, we had volunteerships and things that were less formalized. But what we were really proud of is we brought in 5 students. They were able to get hands-on experience working in various areas. We had we had technology teams from the clinical application support groups who support pharmacists, all the way to those who build servers for us. They all pitched project ideas, and we aligned interns with these different projects. And at the end of the program, they gave a big presentation on all their accomplishments and what they learned. It was really successful, and we're going to continue that. So very soon we're posting our summer internship opportunities. So again, we're bringing in a similar size group from approximately mid-June-ish through August, and it's going to be really great opportunities to learn many different worlds of IT. You'd be embedded into one team with one manager, and they would show you quite a lot of what they do, and then you'd be focusing a lot of your time on one project. But we've heard, our feedback is that the experience is very rewarding.
Perfect.
And I can, yeah.
Do you want to tell us just how did you get to where you are now?
Sure. Yeah, that's you can cut me off if you're short on time, but I like talking about myself. I have, I guess, my background. So in high school, I was a heavy metal guitar player. No joke. I was learning how to fix cars. I didn't intend to work with healthcare IT, that's for sure. But I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I went to Inver Hills to do my generals. I transferred to St. Thomas and got a bachelor's in business, concentration in operations management. And we were really doing a lot of quality things. So the quality angle got me into testing medical software or electronic medical record vendor named Meditech. I had an office out in Minnetonka, so I got a job doing QA work with medical record software. And then I wound up working, leading a testing team and a technical writing team for that company. I got a master's degree from St. Thomas in software systems because I ended up really liking the technological, the coding, and I wanted to have more technical knowledge. I moved into a product manager role at Allina Health, managing more electronic medical records and projects and things like that. And then 2 years ago, I accepted a job at Children's, leading their ITS ancillary systems. So ancillary to us means I support lab, radiology, pharmacy, home care, audiology, and many other clinical systems. And so I manage several teams that have a lot of different responsibilities. We're supporting these apps 24/7, 365. And I really like working at Children's. I also have just got my master's from the University of Minnesota, another master's in healthcare administration. So wanted to round myself out a little bit, learning more about budgeting and finance and some of the business side. So yeah, I really find this is a really valuable niche I've found. We're not developing e-commerce software. We're not selling groceries online, which, those would be cool jobs too, I'm sure. But working in technology, we're very much, the work we do is very impactful, very, very important. There's a lot of, I make sure, even though I work remotely primarily, I do like to make it to our hospital campuses to remind myself of how important the work is that we're doing. When we make changes, someone could get hurt very badly if things go wrong. So it is life or death working in our field. I'm not trying to be dramatic. But it makes our work more meaningful, I think. So.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Curtis.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and whenever I'm presenting, I always tell people, it's not just doctors and nurses. We've got everything every normal company has. So, and IT is such a huge department here too. And I think it is more meaningful to work for healthcare industry and IT, and if that's your thing. So Thank you. So I will continue here. I just got a couple more slides. I'll go over some benefits here. Development opportunities. So right now we offer $3,000 a year in tuition reimbursement. So if you, even while you're in school, or even, if you finish out school, you graduate, you come here, you want to go back, like Curtis went back a bunch of times, you can access that $3,000 a year in tuition reimbursement. How that works is you would take the class and you would turn in your transcript after with your grades. We make sure you're passing, and then that would be paid out in your paycheck. We have tuition discount for select schools too. So you can, we have kind of a resource page where you can go look, consider your options. And there's some discounts that are offered. We do have some earn and learn programs coming up. We're hoping to do a medical assistant earn and learn. And what that means is, you're going to school, you're learning, but then you're also working for us, getting paid on the job in a role that's relative to the program that you're going to. Internship opportunities, we went over a couple of those there. We also have equity and inclusion interns, where we partner with different high schools and colleges, and those are throughout the summer. And then let me think, we have the social work interns, we have music therapy interns, child life, all kinds of opportunities. And you can always go to our website and just search the word intern just to see if anything pertains to you. Partnerships with R&BSN completion programs like Metro, ongoing communication or ongoing continuing education support. So different things that will develop you. And this one's specifically for nurses too, that I added in here. And sorry, my dog is gonna chew on a squeaky toy of course right now while I'm presenting, so sorry about that. And then there's a lot of other different benefits. Healthcare in general has a lot of good you know, medical, dental, vision, kind of regular benefits, but we also have different things like employee resource groups. We have a Nurses of Color employee resource group. We have the Black Employee Empowerment Network as an employee resource group. We have Merge, which is our Muslim ERG, Asian, Hispanic. Our Hispanic ERG is called VASAs. And we do have Pride ERG as well. And those ERGs, if you haven't heard of them before, they're just really good groups to join. We do different things like we'll set up webinars to hear from different speakers, or we'll organize donation events and things like that. So it's just a really nice thing to have at a company. And then we have well-being services with financial payout. So what that means is if you go in and you're tracking your well-being, whether that's like saying like you took a walk today and you do that consistently, you get money for doing that, to making sure you're being a little bit mindful about your well-being. We also have counselors, dietitians, health counselors, different people that you can call, and there's no charge, there's no insurance involved or anything. If you're having a bad day, whether it's because of work or not, you can call a counselor, which is really important, really great benefit. We also have childcare and elder care services. So again, if it's for work or for personal reasons, you can call childcare services and they'll try and help you find those services in the area. Oh, did I already go? Yeah, I went over some of this here. 6% retirement match. We have sign-on bonuses for all of our benefit eligible positions right now. So that's just a bonus that you get for accepting a position and starting with us. There is a retention agreement with that. So if you accept the bonus, you have to stay with us for 12 months kind of thing. You don't have to if you don't want to. Maybe you're kind of thinking, you know, you might be moving within the next 6 months or something like that. So that's optional. We have great referral bonuses right now. And we actually got a gratitude bonus this last year. So there's just tons of ways that we're trying to appreciate our current employees at Children's. Okay, I'm gonna switch to just kind of process here. I know you guys know, you're smart, you know a lot about all of this, but my biggest piece of advice with a resume is keep it simple, keep it to the point, and just show your best within that 1 or 2 pages within your resume. Have someone proofread it. And the reason to kind of keep it simple and short is just because sometimes the recruiters, they've got lots of positions, lots of applications. They might take 60 seconds to kind of go through, look at your application and make that decision. Yes, I'm going to move you forward, or no, I'm not. So you just want to show it in that little amount, just your highlights and what's relevant to the position that you're applying to. How to apply, same as lots of places. You just have to go to our career website. You can search by all job openings, but you can also go into these buckets here. I would just suggest clicking on that search all job openings button, just because it'll just pull everything up and you can kind of narrow it down after that. Candidate selection. So say you apply to a position, you're more than likely to get a phone interview with a recruiter first, or a talent acquisition consultant. So usually they'll take, maybe they'll take 10 people to phone interview, then they'll take the best 5 and have the manager interview those 5. So always be thinking about that and be prepared for that first phone interview to get to the next step. Interview prep. So always research the company. You're probably going to be asked, why do you want to work here? So know a little bit about the company. Think about if, you know, why you would want to work here, and think about if it would be a good fit for you. Practice that first elevator pitch for that first question of an interview. You know, tell me about yourself. Think about your work history, your education history, volunteer stuff. And I always work backwards too. Say what you're doing right now and then kind of work back in the years of what you've experienced. And you're always going to be asked questions that start with, tell me about a time when, or something like that. So always be prepared with different examples of things that happened at work, and use that STAR method. So describe the situation, describe what the task was, what was the action that you took, and then how did it end? What was the result? That's a really good way to answer a question fully. And then big one at the bottom here, always have questions for the interviewer. We want to make sure you're asking us questions too that shows interest. And honestly, you want to make sure that you want to work for us too. So have some good questions for us. And a lot of our interviews, and I won't say a lot, all of our interviews, even manager interviews, are still virtual. But even though it's virtual, you still have to dress professionally, be in a quiet place, get a good night of sleep, all the stuff that you'd regularly do. I think it's kind of nice doing a virtual interview. I think it takes a little bit of pressure off being in your own home, honestly, but do all the normal things that you do for a regular interview. And then think about your commitment to a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace. We're always going to have questions that pertain to that. Okay, and that is all that I had. Those are all the slides. So I'm going to stop sharing here. I'll put my email in the chat and open it up for questions and discussion.
Jordan, that was phenomenal. Thank you for all of that information. As I was thinking through the things that I always want employers to share, you have shared all of it. So thank you.
Oh, good to hear.
I'm so glad you're open for questions. So any of our attendees in the chat or on the call today, please feel free to go off mute, raise your hand, or put your question in the chat so we can attend to it. And Jordan just shared her email in the chat. So if you want to capture that now before the meeting ends, so you can have it for when you'd like to use it.
Yeah, and you can use that if you are interested in either the ITS internship or the nursing internship, just shoot me an email and we can talk about it. So,
Jordan, do you help recruit for other positions within the organization?
Mm-hmm. Whatever the highest need is at the time. So,
okay.
Respiratory therapists are really big right now. It's a huge need, all the way down to housekeeping aides. Is huge national shortage right now with that kind of role. And so, yeah, really big and small kind of positions, anything that needs help, and a lot in healthcare needs a help right now. So, yep.
Yeah, I appreciated how Curtis framed the work that he does can be life and death. And just really reiterating the importance of every single role within the organization, tying back to that direct patient care.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any. Oh, go ahead, Jordan.
I can take it, and I'm still on. So this is Curtis here. So if you want to throw questions at me, I'm still available too. So
that's what I was going to say. Curtis is here. You can ask him anything.
Yeah, I'm not. No dumb questions. We always say in the IT world, most people don't know the answer to anything. So I've never asked a dumb question because I can never get a straight answer.
I have a question. For the IT internship, does it matter what year you're graduating?
It is usually targeting junior and senior IT students. So that's the time when people are getting really closer to thinking about where they might want to work right after. And then by then you also have some coursework that's more applicable to your major, or to the field that you want to get in. So we like to leverage some of that coursework. Let's say you took a web development class or database class or something. We may have a project that could use some of your coursework that you've been through recently. So that's a reason why those are preferred years. I don't know that we've locked it down. So I would still apply and make a pitch for yourself.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Gao is asking, are entry-level Masters of Science in Nursing students eligible to apply? Are you talking about the internship program or just regular staff positions? Both. Okay. Yeah. So it's actually a good question. So for summer nurse interns, we do specify that it's BSN, but really you just have to be within a year of graduating. So you could I think you could apply as an MSN. We don't get a lot of MSNs applying to it usually, but you would just have to apply in that second to last year so that you're doing the internship before your last full year. And then for staff, of course, we would love to see MSNs apply for staff RNs, leadership roles, whatever that you're interested in.
Jordan, can you speak to how a nurse might be able to find an opportunity in their area of interest? There's obviously a variety of different departments that nurses could work in. And in my experience of working with job seekers is they're trying to find their way both in the door, but also into their area where they're most excited in practice.
Yeah, and that's what the internship is so good at too, because even people who think like, oh yeah, I definitely want to work in the NICU, they might get an internship in the NICU and realize, nope, this is actually not where I want to be, which is just as helpful of information to get. And doing your, making sure to request clinicals, if we have an affiliation agreement in place, request your clinicals, rotations here, and then the preceptorships, capstones. The other option is to volunteer too. So if you want to volunteer in a specific unit, you can make that request. And you're doing non-clinical kind of duties, but you're still in the environment and getting to know people and seeing what it's like. So that I think that's a good way to do that too.
And are you accepting volunteers again, or is that still on pause
Yes.
with our pandemic? Okay.
We started accepting in the fall. So I think we're a little backlogged on the volunteer because so many people were wanting to volunteer for so long. And so get your, it's on the website on the front page. I think it's a get involved button, and then you can go to volunteer services, put your application in there. And then once we're able to take you, we'll contact you.
That's incredible. And is that the same way, Curtis, you called them volunteerships? Would that be the same way that you might access a volunteership, is through the volunteer application?
That we didn't have it wasn't formally advertised. I think they were people who were really eager to work in IT, and they made a connection, and we let them get some security and enough security to do some work with us. And so it was not very well organized, but I think our internship program is the better answer, and it is paid. So now that we have, a list of events along with the intern program, a little more structure and organization, I think that's the way to go. But I was a volunteer at St. Joseph's Hospital maybe 14 years ago, volunteered for guest services, and I still have that on my resume today. So volunteered for 300 hours back then, and it's still I still have all kinds of good stories I can tell. So there's another good thing about volunteering in any department, doing anything.
Yeah,
thank you for that. And Jordan, do you see this great question from Gao in the chat about how many applications children typically receives, and what does that equate to as far as who's being hired?
And I won't be able to give you a straight answer on this one, but I can tell you that, so we're about 5,000 employees at Children's. We have about over 600 openings, I think, right now. In a before pandemic times, it might have been more around 400. So if you're thinking, and it's so hard to say because some positions might only get 1 or 2 applicants because of how niche they are. Some might get 100 applicants, like some of the administrative kind of roles, kind of entry level roles like that. So that's really hard to say, but that hopefully gives you a little bit of an idea. But all you can do is apply. And if you guys want to use me as a resource too, if you do go and apply to anything after this, just send me an email and I can give the recruiter a heads up to contact you.
That's an extremely generous offer of you, Jordan. Thank you for that. I think the old saying used to be, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And as we think about what makes people most successful in job searching, it's through networking. And so all of you who chose to be on this call today have the opportunity now to start networking with Jordan and make that connection. So you feel like your application's going to a person instead of that potential black hole where resumes go to die.
Yep. Yeah. And let's see. For MSN program, there's 7 semesters. I'm currently in 2nd semester. Does that mean it's too late? It's a good question. So 765. What month would you graduate? What month and year would you graduate? Then I think you could technically apply for this next round. So in November, you'll see all the health systems post their summer nurse internship roles. So in November, keep an eye out. I think technically then you could get selected for the 2023 summer to do the internship, because we'll accept people who are graduating in December and the following spring for the year.
And so a question that came directly to me, does Children's Minnesota provide any roles or internships for biochemistry majors? Any suggestions help?
That one is not ringing any bells right now, the biochemistry. Are you pre-med with that? Might be pre-med, yeah. So not specifically right now, but we never kind of know what kind of internships are going to pop up. If a manager decides they want an internship, then they would work with me to get that posted and out to the public. So always keep an eye out on intern roles that kind of pop up out there.
And I'll just add that extra plug of volunteers so you can start to get to know people and see where opportunities might come about. So you are one of the first people to know about them versus waiting for it to be posted on the website.
Yep.
Great questions coming through.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Anything else?
Well, I will add as we wrap up that the Career Center is here to support all of you as students and alumni. So regardless of when you graduate, you can continue to utilize our resources. I think the information that Jordan gave about resume writing and interviewing is such a great start. We want to help you be successful in all those efforts. And so I've just put in the chat our direct link to our resume resources, which includes our drop-in time. So you can get some feedback before you pass along or apply for any of these amazing opportunities. I would love if we could give a virtual round of applause to Jordan and Curtis, and thank you for joining us and giving of your time today. This was incredible information, and I'm so glad we could capture it.
Yeah, thank you all for having us today.